There's not an intro or anything like that?
No.
No? Okay. All right. I hit OK. All right. Well, hey, everybody. Welcome to another live Q&A with yours truly, Sam Healy. Today, our overarching tone, I guess you could say, is going to be to buy or not to buy. That is the question. So, and we can take that into just about anything, any area of the hobby that you'd like to go into, whether it's expansions, whether it's accessories, whether it's blinging out your game or whatever it might be. To buy or not to buy, that is the question. What are the factors that you use to kind of govern whether or not you're going to buy a game or an expansion or what have you? That's kind of what we're going into. We kind of touched on this kind of subject a little bit ago when we talked about how much is too much, or how how many games is too many games, how many of this is too many of that type of thing. So hopefully it'll be a little bit different than that discussion. But other than that, we are going to have just a regular Q&A session where you can ask any question that you would like, and I'll do my best to answer them as best as I can. I do, of course, reserve the right not to answer questions if I don't want to, but I'll try not to do that as little. I'll try to do that as little as possible, because I do want you guys to have a good time here. All right, so. Hello everyone. We already have 77 watching now. That's great. Thank you for joining us. We appreciate it. Let me move my chair up a little bit so I can get a little bit more comfortable. So hello everyone. First question is from Michael Castiglia. How was youth camp? Play any games there? No, I actually didn't play any games there. I was the only sponsor for our group, and we had 11 teens. So I really kind of had my hands full as far as making sure everybody was okay and all that kind of stuff. So I didn't have any time to actually play any games. I did do some activities with the youth though. We bowled a lot, played some volleyball, watched the World Cup games, the two that were on during that week. For a little bit, took pictures of them doing other things that were just not really for sponsors, just for them and that type of stuff. So yeah, it was a good time, and everybody had a good week. The only thing that we left Sunday night at midnight and drove through the night to stopping for breakfast, of course, and fuel and that type of thing, and then we went to registration was like between 1 and 3 o'clock in the afternoon on Monday, and so when we got there, we were already kind of beat. Although did get to eat a Whataburger, that's a good thing, for lunch. We got everybody signed in, and they had a full day, well, full half day of activities planned, free time, and then dinner, and then a service, and then some more free time after that, and then opening ceremony type stuff in that evening, and all the way up until about 10:30 that night. And then the speaker went a little bit long, so it actually turned into about 11 o'clock that night, and by the time that we were there, our kids were just burnt because of having to drive through the night. And you can't really sleep well in a vehicle, especially when there's 11 of you in that vehicle. Even though it's a 15-passenger van, we have plenty of room, but probably won't do that next year. We'll see though. We'll see. But youth camp was good. Thank you, Dennis. Appreciate that. How do you like the Song of Ice and Fire miniatures? Did you paint them? Well, funny you should ask, because I believe it's not tomorrow, but Friday. I think it's Friday. Yeah, Friday. I'm actually going to be doing a live painting with Sam session where I'm going to start diving into the Song of Ice and Fire miniatures, because we auctioned off, actually Simon auctioned off two copies actually of A Song of Ice and Fire for the Jack Vasil Memorial Fund auction during the Dice Tower Con, and one of them was for a painted copy that was painted by myself and Vernon Piper. So he's going to be taking the Lannisters, and I'll be taking the oh my goodness, I'm showing my true colors here. I'm not really a Game of Thrones fan or a Song of Ice and Fire fan or anything like that. So it's the Starks and the Lannisters. Yeah, I just had to think about it. So Vernon's doing the Lannisters. I'm going to be doing the Starks. I'm going to start with the Stark Outriders tomorrow. So, or I'm sorry, on Friday. So you can come in, join, chat. It will be a live session. I'm going to try to have some things pre-done so that I can just kind of show this and that. But we'll see how that works out. I think we'll be okay, but we'll see. So join then, and you'll see. All right, let's see here. I'm going to break out chat because it's a little bit easier to do that. Then I don't have to look at my face while I'm doing that. All right, let's see here. Trying to find where I stopped. There we are. What are your thoughts on Who Goes There by Certifiable Studios? I haven't actually played it yet, so it looks interesting. It looks epic, but I don't know anything about the gameplay or anything like that. Hello, James. Let's see. Okay, KB says, I think this is a great theme to talk about. Games can be very expensive. That is true. And what actually kind of sticks out to me a little bit is that not only are games expensive, but the accessories that go along with them, they are also expensive. One thing also is that I view many of these things as luxury items. So that puts them in a different, I guess you could say, category than any other thing. I'm not talking about, you know, staples, food and clothing and utilities and that type of stuff. We're talking about things that you don't actually need to survive. Because, I mean, frankly and honestly, if board games dropped off the face of the earth, except for the job that I have, I wouldn't be hurting. I would probably miss being able to play board games, but they're not a necessity. They are a luxury, and that's my opinion, I guess you could say. But so with that having been said, they're going to probably be more expensive than some of those other things. So they are expensive, but so what are some of the factors that are used by you guys to determine whether or not you're going to buy said board game or said accessory or said whatever? Later today on the following stream? No, later Friday. I hope I scheduled that correctly. Let me double check because now you have me scared. Let's see. No, it says 7:20. Yeah, and today is the 18th, right? Yeah. Okay. Right. So, I'm good. All right, let's see here. Restore chat, and then here we go. All righty. Let's get to some more questions here. All right. Star Wars Rebellion expansion, starting units or base game. Also, how essential is this one for people who are fans of the game, of the base game rather? I would say the expansion for Star Wars Rebellion. I think if you like the game, it's a no-brainer. It really does do a lot of things to the game that kind of not really fixes it, but just makes I guess another makes combat better. Combat was kind of strange, wonky in the base game, and while I didn't necessarily not enjoy it, it wasn't how combat is now is better. So I think if you like the game in general, I think you should probably give a nod to the expansion. What deck builder do I like the most and why? Well, probably I'm not a huge fan of deck builders. Probably my favorite deck builder is Star Realms / Hero Realms, and that just depends on who I'm playing with. If like my daughter Catherine, she really enjoys Star Realms, so I'll play that with her. But with others, maybe Hero Realms, because I like the characters that you can play with. So probably one of those two are my favorite. At what point do you think it's time to buy an expansion versus just playing the base game? Well, I think probably if you are... Well, I was about to say if you're tiring on the base game, maybe buying the expansion will liven it up for you. But if you're tiring on the base game, then why put more money into it? Maybe you're just done with the game. So I don't know. I don't know that... I mean, I think if you like a game, and then you see an expansion comes out for it, and then you see what the expansion does and how it changes the game, if that's something that you want in your game, then now you need to talk about the affordability of it and kind of talk that over with yourself and go from there. But I don't know that there is an actual point at which you should always buy the expansion unless, some Yahoo like me says that you must buy the expansion and always use it and that type of thing. So I don't think that I would ever say that I need to buy an expansion outright without taking into account other factors. Nick Van Dam says, as for games, I always ask myself, will I choose to play the new game over the ones I already own on my shelves? This does a good job to limiting game acquisition. That's probably a good thing. Other people like Tom have adopted a one game in, one game out principle, where when you buy a new game, another old game has to leave. So there is that as well, and I think that's pretty similar to what you're talking about here. If you're going to be able to replace an old game with this new one, then that's probably a little bit more of a justifiable purchase. Have you pretty much given up on Time Stories? I have not. I really enjoy Time Stories. We just haven't got a new module for it yet that I know of. So I have not given up on it. I know the other guys kind of cooled on it a bit, but I haven't. I tried, let's see, Jesse Clay says, or Clay, I'm sorry if I mispronounced that. I tried to limit myself to buying one game per month, basically treating myself to a new game every paycheck. That's a good idea as well. Do you think Days of Wonder will do anything special for the 75th anniversary of the D-Day invasion, 15th Memoir 44 anniversary? Maybe. I mean, they've done that in the past. Maybe that's going to be the release date for the new air pack. I don't know. I know that the air pack is still in the realm, in the works. So maybe that's the date they're shooting for. I really don't know. And Dylan asks, in your opinion, if I already own Star Realms and most of the expansions, is it worth to delve into Hero Realms 2? I don't know, because it really does, in a sense, come down to which theme do you like a little bit better. Do you like the fantasy theme or do you like the star theme, the space theme? Because right now they really seem to kind of be paralleling each other as far as the games are concerned on what they offer and what kinds of differences the games have. So I would say probably not, and I don't mean to step on any toes there over at White Wizard Games, but I think that if you already own Star Realms with most of the expansions and you're probably planning on picking up the rest of them, it's probably going to be very similar to what Hero Realms is going to offer you both now and in the future, I would imagine. But I don't know what they have planned for the thing there in the future. Century, Spice Road, Eastern Roads, or both? Well, I've only played Spice Road. I haven't played Eastern Roads yet, so I can't really answer that question. Carlos asks, hi Sam, favorite rock album? I'm going to have to say, I'm going to look up the exact name so that I don't mess that up. Let's see. Where is it? I'm looking it up on my phone. Spotify. Oh, yeah. Theocracy as the World Bleeds. With a close second coming to Theocracy Ghost Ship, their newest album. Those are probably my favorite rock albums right now. Huh. Okay. Sam, can you give me some examples of must-buy expansions? It's that's kind of strange. Well, it's probably not strange, but it definitely fits into the subject. Yeah. Must-buy expansions. Well, for example, the Valhalla or the Dark Mountains expansions for Champions of Midgard. I would say that those are must-buy expansions, because what they do to the game does not elongate the game at all, but it definitely deepens it as far as the choices that you can make and what choices you make really during the course of the game. That would be, in my opinion, a must-buy expansion. Let's see. Let's see. Wow, I'm drawing a blank here. The one we just talked about, I think earlier, the Star Wars Rebellion expansion, I can't remember, Rise of the Empire. That one is also, I think, a must-buy expansion because it kind of makes a part of the base game better. So that would be that. Those are kinds of the things where you have not really a patch or an upgrade or a fix, but it just kind of makes the base game better in some way, shape, or form. Yeah, stuff like that. Tommy from Georgia, hello. Is there any good Christian board games coming out? There are a few, yes, but coming out. Man, I have. I'm drawing a blank on game names today for some reason. I apologize for that, but good night. It's a little difficult. Let me get back to that one. Remind me later on, and I'll try to come back to that because it's frustrating me right now that I can't remember the names. Do you buy games that you could play over at a friend's house? Yeah, sometimes, especially if it, like a party type game or something like that. I'm usually a little bit more picky about party games because I don't like all of them, but I'm a little bit more picky about that genre of games. So usually if we're going over to a situation at a friend's house or something like that where it's going to be a party type situation, then yeah, I'll probably bring something that I know I enjoy just so that I can teach it and that type of thing. Subcommandant 73 says, painting a troop of Churchill tanks for Flames of War at the moment. Do you prefer fantasy or historical figures to paint? It doesn't really matter to me. I really like figures that have a lot of armor because I'm not good, because usually there's fewer details on the armor, but and those are more fun to paint for me. So those I guess that falls into fantasy, but you also have tank armor and that type of thing, which is also fun to paint as well. One of my most memorable figures that I've ever painted was a 40K, a Warhammer 40K Land Raider that I had for my Dark Angels, and I loved painting that. Had a great time really making it, taking my time with it, and then it got stolen. So there you have it. But I really enjoyed painting that tank. Question, in reference to the buyer or to buy or not to buy question, would you spend the same on a Kickstarter game as on a retail game? I believe that well, especially if you go in and get some of the add-ons and all that other kind of stuff, most of the time you're going to be spending more on a Kickstarter game than you do the retail game. The retail game is usually less expensive than the Kickstarter version. Now, I know that Kickstarters usually give you a discounted price to get you in the door, but then all of the add-ons will take you up over what the retail cost of the game is going to be, more often than not. And then people just go crazy and go all in and spend $300, $400, $500 on one game. Definitely wouldn't do that, and I don't do that because I, quite frankly, can't afford to. But so I guess the answer is, I guess it's kind of like, having, a bird in the hand or two in the bush, that type of thing. I would probably spend, again, within budget, more on something that I can have now than more on something that might come later. That's kind of my view on the whole Kickstarter thing. Best worker placement Viking game for family. Vikings Gone Wild is pretty fun. I would try that one out. It's not really worker placement, but I just played Fire and Axe at Dice Tower Con, and that reminded me how much I enjoyed that game. It's not worker placement, though. I mean, I guess you could possibly... No, it's not worker placement. But those are a couple of Viking family games that I think would probably... One's, Vikings Gone Wild is a little bit lighter than Fire and Axe, and Fire and Axe is a little bit more mean and confrontational, but both of them have fit in family situations for me. Vincent O'Reilly says, how do you balance buying new games versus expansions for games you already have? Expansions are great for saving space, but sometimes cost almost as much as a new game. That is true. So when you're buying an expansion and you have that hefty price tag that tells you, man, I can just buy a new game for this, is this really going to... Well, I think that's going to be the decision-making process there, right? You have to say, is this going to enhance the game that I already own enough to equal, I guess you could say, the fun that I might get from a new game? And then you have to go into another part of the decision-making process of, well, do I know I'm going to enjoy this new game? Am I going to enjoy this new game as much as I'm going to enjoy the old game with the expansion? So, again, those are all questions that you have to ask yourself. I can't answer them for you, of course, but that's just the way it is. How do I balance? The balance act comes where I kind of drew that line a few moments ago with, is my enjoyment of this new game going to outweigh the enjoyment that I'm going to get from the old game with the expansion? So that would be the line that I draw. Are you planning to get both Great Western Trail and the Caverna expansion? Probably not with Great Western Trail. Caverna expansion, possibly. I like Caverna, but wasn't too enamored with Great Western Trail. It's just a little bit too big of a game for me. Hello, Andrew. Nice to see you. What is the most recent game you played that will likely hit your top 100? Wow, that's a good question, and one that I didn't really anticipate getting. Maybe Village Attacks. Village Attacks is a really fun game, and that's probably going to hit my top 100. I don't know exactly where, though, but I would imagine it will. And GKR, Heavy Hitters, Giant Killer Robots. That's probably going to hit my top 100 as well. That's really fun. Yeah, those are the two that come to mind. Let's see. How do you store painted minis for your games? Usually just in the games. I don't keep them out of the box, because then they're just going to be accosted by dust and all that other kind of stuff. But usually just in the game, and I'll package it as easily or as safely as I can. Hopefully, the miniatures games will have some type of holding apparatus, storage solution that comes in the box. But if not, you know, that generally speaking, I don't travel very much with my games anyway, so I don't have to worry about those kinds of storage solutions. But there's a lot of them out there, and you can check them out. I know you guys rarely talk about price when you review or talk about games, but personally, what do you take into account when it comes to how much a game costs versus what you're getting for it? One of the things that I usually use is this idea to other kinds of entertainment that I would be spending that money on. For example, you know, my family likes to go to movies, and so if I go to a movie, I'm going to be spending, you know, with my family. We'll try to go to a matinee, save some dollars there, have a coupon book for the snacks and that type of stuff. So I might be able to get away with maybe $60, $70 if I pay for my entire family going to a movie that's going to last 2 to 2.5 hours. So if I'm purchasing a game for whatever amount of money it's going to be, I kind of use that as a mark. For example, I'm spending $60 on 2.5 hours, $70 maybe, on 2.5 hours of entertainment. So if I spend $70 on a board game that's going to give me an hour and a half of entertainment multiple times, let's say if I get 2 plays out of the game, then that's 3 hours of entertainment for $70, which is akin to that time that we spent at the movie theater. And it's not a perfect analogy, but it works in my mind at least. So with that having been said, though, I think I'm usually more willing to spend the money for the movie, only because as a family, I know my family's going to enjoy that movie. They've asked me to do it or what have you. If I buy a game, they may not like the game, and I may not get that second play out of it with my family. So there's that. And that's why I said it's not really a perfect analogy. But I think the main thing is this going to hurt my family's finances? If it is, then I'm not going to do it. If it isn't, and I think it'll bring enjoyment, then I'll usually go ahead and pull the trigger. But I usually don't try to spend, you know, I do not kickstart stuff because that's just way too far out of my comfort zone. You know, hundreds of dollars on a game that's not going to come for another year. No, I'm not doing that. So I'm usually a little bit more stingy, I guess you could say, on how many board games I purchase. So yeah. And the reason we don't really talk about price is because that's really a personal thing. What I consider too expensive might be chump change for you. And what I consider to be extravagant might be commonplace for you. So that's why I stay away from price. I just usually try to talk about the game, the mechanisms, and how much fun I had, how boring it was, whatever. And I try to stay away from price. My son had a lot of Star Wars X-Wing. How will 2.0 be, or is it a money grab? Well, I've not played any of it, and I really haven't looked into it, but it really does seem like a money grab, unfortunately, because it just, I don't know, every time I think about it, it just seems like, wow, they're just trying to get more money out of a loyal fan base that's already there. And I don't know that to be the case, and I certainly don't mean to make that accusation, but that's just what it seems like is happening. And again, I'm not in any of those decision-making meetings that they're having over at Fantasy Flight, but that's just what it seems like to me. I don't know that there is going to be that big of a change between original and second edition. But again, I haven't looked into it. That's just on the surface. Have I had the chance to play the new command decks for Star Realms? No, they're sitting on my desk right now as we speak. Just got them a couple days ago, so there you go. The Dice Matrix says, Sam, I'm getting frustrated assembling one of my miniatures for Shadespire. All of them snap together easily except this particular one. Any suggestions? Take your time. Take your time, because you might irreparably damage the miniature trying to squeeze it together. Try a couple of different things. All of the ones that I put together went together really easy. Some of them had some spiky bits on it, but and they kind of hurt when I had to press them together. But other than that, they all kind of went together easily. That might just be an anomaly, but unfortunately, no, I don't have anything. Sorry, my son is texting me something. Just a second. Let me see what's going on. Sorry. Alrighty. Have you had the chance to play The Path of Light and Shadow? We did. Not this year at the Gathering, but last year at the Gathering. It's a real under-the-radar, territory-controlled deck builder that has gotten no love. That is true. When we played it, Z and I played it together with Travis from Indie Boards and Cards, and I enjoyed most of the game, but it just didn't sing to me because, and again, it was 2 years ago, and I haven't really thought about this a lot, but if I remember correctly, it was just too easy for other people to hurt you and keep you down. And it felt like it had a, I don't know, just wasn't very fun. That's the only thing I can think of. That's the only thing I really say about it. I haven't played it since. That was a prototype version of the game as well. But I mean, all of the rules were finalized, but the components weren't. That didn't really hurt me that much. I loved the pieces of the game, the castles and whatnot, but it just didn't reach out to me, I guess. I know I'm being nebulous there, but that's just what I mean. Let's see here. Lords of Hellas. Buy, and does it scratch the same itch as Cry Havoc? Maybe, but Cry Havoc has that, that timed mechanism where the trogs are going to win if you don't do something about it. So you kind of have to semi-cooperatively work together and that kind of thing. So I wouldn't liken it to Cry Havoc as much. I think it scratches a bit of a different itch than Cry Havoc does. But I think that Lords of Hellas is a great game and a very enjoyable game. But I wouldn't liken it to Cry Havoc. But I also like Cry Havoc as well. Will you be able to play games at Gen Con? If so, when? Well, I know I have, I think, at least one appointment to play games. But usually with Gen Con, there's less time to play games. Usually it's after the convention hall has closed for the day and after we get back from dinner, but then it's at hotels. So I don't know when or if or how or any of that. That's kind of a play it by ear type of thing than anything else. Certainly hadn't thought about upgrading games, but now that I'm finding fewer games that interest me more than the ones I already have, I may consider putting my gaming budget toward upgrades. Well, that is true. That's another expense, right, of the hobby is when you find games that you really enjoy, they're evergreens for you. You know that you enjoy playing the game, and you know that other people in your group enjoy playing the game. Well, let's enhance or let's bling out this game a little bit so that it's more enjoyable. You know, it's not only affecting us or we're not only enjoying the cranial aspect of it, but we're also enjoying the aesthetic aspect of it as well now. So upgrading games can be a very rewarding thing to put your money into. But again, some people don't care about that. They all they want is the mechanisms and puzzling things out and that type of stuff. So your audio is clipping when you speak loudly. Might need some reconfiguring. Okay, well, Let me just move this down a little bit. That might help a little. I don't know how much, but hopefully that'll help. How do you decide which games to upgrade? Well, I think I just answered that a little bit. Those games that you enjoy, you have everything that's necessary for the games. There's no more expansions that are out there, and now you're just kind of upgrading the components of the game, or you're upgrading this or that, that type of stuff. Usually it's games that you have owned, you enjoy them, you're going to continue to enjoy them, and then you see, well, how can I take some of the components and make them better? What is it about Duel of Ages 2 that you don't like? Well, I don't like, first of all, how big the board is. I don't like having to go from point A to point B, roll some dice, and then, oh, I'm done. I can't do that one. I don't know. It just felt, I'm not an enemy of randomness in games or anything like that. As a matter of fact, I think I like games that have that random factor in it a little bit better than more often than not. But there was just too much randomness in that game for my tastes, and I guess I just didn't really fall in with the theme either. Just didn't do it for me. Can't decide if I should buy Champions of Midgard or Raiders of the North Sea. Should I get both? Well, they are both pretty different games. I guess it's really depending upon what you are wanting to, I guess why you want a Viking game more than anything else. Out of those two, Champions of Midgard is my favorite one. So that would probably be the one I would push you towards. But Raiders of the North Sea is also a good game, but I just like Champions of Midgard better. What makes Thunderstone Quest so great? Again, that would be a question for Tom. He likes it more than I do, but it is fun, and again, like I said earlier, I'm not that huge of a fan of deck builders, which that's what Thunderstone Quest really is. But the thing that I like about Thunderstone Quest over, say, something like Dominion is that it has a theme where you're actually doing something and not just building your deck. You're also going out there and defeating monsters and quests and that type of stuff. So that's why I like Thunderstone Quest over other deck builders. Hopefully that will answer. It will stand. All right, Cthulhu, Death May Die. I saw somebody else. Did I back it? No, for reasons that I've already stated. What are your thoughts about the cost in the Giant Mini? Well, the Giant Mini is just opulence. It's just completely unnecessary opulence. And I don't know why anybody would want to have a 2-foot miniature of Cthulhu in their home. I mean, where are you going to put that thing? Is it going to be like, your dining table centerpiece? And if so, creepy. You know what I mean? Where do you put something like that, especially if you're going to paint it, because it is not a very amicable miniature. It's pretty disgusting looking. So, I mean, maybe you have a shrine in your home somewhere. I don't know. Where are you going to put that thing? Or maybe you're just going to flip it. And that might be why people are doing it. They're thinking of it as an investment. Oh, but good night. When I saw that miniature, I just shook my head because it is it's larger than a baby. Sorry, that's just not. I cannot justify that at all. Not even close. But the game, Cthulhu Death May Die, I played a version of it at the Gathering this year. I think it's gone through some more iterations since then, so I can't really say too much. It's really hard. It's really difficult. a la Eric Lang. You know, he likes making his, or Michael Chanel. He's not a designer of this one, but you know how Michael Chanel likes to make his games hard and difficult. Eric Lang usually likes to do the same thing, where you have to make some pretty excruciating choices at some point during the course of the game. That's what this is. It's a lot of that. But it was an enjoyable experience. I think it was fun. But again, I don't. That was during the development process, so I don't know how much they've changed since I've played it. Top 3 Sinatra songs, I don't have any. Probably if you just pick his 3 most popular ones, those would be the ones I know. So I'm not a Sinatra person that listens to Sinatra. What is the best non-Marvel movie that you've seen recently? The Incredibles. The Incredibles 2, that was the best one that I've seen recently. That was really good. Wait, what did we watch the other day? We got something from Redbox the other day, me and my 2 sons, and I can't remember what it was. Well, it must not be for the a good answer for this one then. Can you think of any other IP or theme that would work with the BSG rule set? In my opinion, it's the best hidden trader game, and seeing it discontinued is such a shame. Yeah, I think the problem with Battlestar Galactica is that they just tried to do too much with it. Instead of making little minor tweaks here and there, they tried to make some large overhauls, and that probably sullied some people to it more than draw them in. And now I know they did it for, you know, to stay in line with the different seasons and what happened during each of the different seasons, but I think they just tried to do too much with it. But an IP or theme that would work well with that BSG rule set. You know, off the top of my head, I'm not. I can't think of anything. I wonder. Oh, I just had something on the tip of my brain. I couldn't. Oh man, it was there and then it just vanished. Maybe like a Lost in Space type theme, where because there was definitely a trader there. You know, I'm thinking back to the original, and I'm also thinking back to the series on Netflix. Maybe that would be a pretty cool IP to wrap around the BSG core mechanisms. Yeah, maybe. Your second pronunciation of my last name was pretty good for an English speaker. I don't even remember what I said. Was it Cly? I don't know. I'm sorry. Let's see here. One of my favorite segments is Backtalk. Any plans for Backtalk soon? That's again, that's kind of a that decision is above my pay grade. We do it pretty much whenever we do Backtalks. Whenever Tom says let's do a Backtalk, so that's really kind of out of my purview. Can you think of a case where it is worth buying the new version of a game if you already own the older version? Is there a version out there so good it is worth that? Well, probably one of the most recent times when that was probably true is TI4, Twilight Imperium 4th edition, and other people will disagree with me. There are things in TI3 with the expansions that aren't in TI4. I have a feeling that's probably going to change in the near future, but I don't know for sure. And I've not heard anything. That's just something that's in the back of my head. But I would imagine that TI3 to TI4 is probably one of the things. I think that all of the changes and all of the streamlining that TI4 did and made TI3 a better game overall. And so if you enjoy TI3, I think that TI4 would be valid purchase for you, even if you had all of the stuff that TI3 has. You can disagree with me, of course, but you know, for example, I played a game of Zombicide Green Horde at Dice Tower Con, and the guy whose copy we used to play it had everything for it, an all-in version. So, I mean, he had boxes upon boxes of stuff for Zombicide Green Horde. If they ever came out with a second edition Zombicide Green Horde, would I be able to look that guy in the eye and say, hey, you need to upgrade to this new version? No, probably not, because he has so much. But if you're talking about just base game to base game, for example, what about when Fire and Axe? Well, and purchasing the new edition. Well, there was aesthetic differences, really. Do you like the new board over the old board? You know, that type of stuff. What about when Colosseum, largely out of print, but what if you still had the Days of Wonder version sitting on your shelf and now the TMG version is available? What are you going to do? Are you going to purchase that new one or not? Well, again, that's really a personal decision. And can I think of a case where it's worth buying? Again, that word that you use there, is it worth it? I can't answer that question for you. Would it be worth it to me? Maybe. I mean, for example, you know, upgrading from TI3 to TI4, would it be worth it? I think so. For me, is it for you? I don't know, because that's a choice that you have to personally make. I can't make that for you. I can just give you my opinion. So hopefully that's it. That answers your question. Are you happy that Bruce Willis said that Die Hard isn't a Christmas movie? I didn't know he said that. But yes, if that's true, and he did say that, yes. As a matter of fact, if he did say that, Bruce Willis has just come up a couple of notches in my book. So thank you, Bruce. I appreciate that. Will you talk about your current game collection in a future video? Whew, I could, but my collection is kind of sporadic and dusty right now because it's pretty much just piled in a lot of different places in my room. I don't have, you know, I don't have a whole bunch of Calyx shelves all over my walls, and it all looks pretty and pristine. But maybe. Any comments concerning Betrayal and House on Hill Legacy? I wasn't a huge fan of the game to begin with, so I don't think that it being a legacy version is going to do that much to change that. I'm starting, and I mean starting by starting, I'm just starting to begin to be a little bit tired of the whole legacy treatment that people seem to be enamored with giving to games right now, because some games just don't need it, and other games would be, I think people would think some games that are getting legacy treatment, they would be mediocre games if they did not have that legacy aspect to it. So I think some games are being over glorified because of their legacy aspects. If you take those legacy aspects out, they would just be, they're okay. So I'm tiring on the whole legacy aspect of games right now, but you know, I still enjoy, you know, some of the originals, so to speak. Pandemic Legacy, those are great. Risk Legacy, those are great ideas and great games, but those were kind of the forerunners. Some of the ones that are coming out now are like, okay, that probably shouldn't have been done. Are there any games in your collection you never play yet don't want to let go? Yes. Sometimes games have a nostalgia factor. They are near and dear to your heart for one reason or another, and you just don't want to get rid of them. And so, yeah. Let's see. Skip down there. All right, let's go around here. Let's see here. Where did I stop? Nobody knows. Pete. Let's see. Christopher Vincent asks, what are your top 5 my current top 5 favorite worker placement games? Hold on to your hat. We're about to do a worker placements game list next week, so hold on to that. Did you enjoy Ant-Man 2? Yes. A very lighthearted, very fun, and he's becoming one of my favorite characters. Paul Rudd is just very funny, and it was very fun. Yes, enjoyed it a lot. Okay, found where I was. Good, Kabuki Kid. Yes, the 1910 expansion for Ticket to Ride is pretty much a must-buy. For the extra tickets and the bigger cards, exactly what I would have said. Did not come to mind earlier when I was asked that question, but thank you for bringing that up. Let's see here. Yes, Wisdom of Solomon. Thank you, Dutch Yoda. Wisdom of Solomon, Soul of the Empire, also. These are both good Christian games that are modern Christian games. Commissioned as well as another Christian game that's has a very modern feel to it, and kind of breaks that mold of feeling stale when you play the game. So thanks guys for stepping up and doing that. I appreciate it. Those were games that came to my mind, but I could not remember their names. So thank you. Let's see. When do you consider a game expensive? At what point do you start really thinking this is a lot of money for a board game? Really, honestly, if it gets over $50, I start to double think. Below $50, I'm usually okay with saying this is a luxury, no problem. But if it goes over $50, I really have to double think. I will ask around, that type of stuff. I'll try to find it for less than $50, that type of thing. So that's it. That's my threshold. But you guys might be different. Do you have more family games or personal? Well, I don't really look at it that way. I usually will, because I have different play styles within my family. So my sons, older sons, they really like confrontational type games. My daughter likes more, not really cranial games, but more, I guess, repetitive, so that she can catch on to it a little bit faster. My wife likes lighter games, Carcassonne, Memoir 44, that type of stuff. And my son, my youngest Aiden, he really enjoys just almost anything. As long as he can grab hold of it and he understands it, he enjoys playing a lot of different things. Some of his favorite games are games like Coconuts, Ghost Fight and Treasure Hunters, and a lot of the Strawberry Studios line from NSKN. He likes those games as well. So those are games that he enjoys playing. So I really have a wide spectrum. So I don't really have family games or personal games. They're just kind of games that we all enjoy. Have you got any more sessions of TI4? Do I think the expansion is imminent? I think so. I think an expansion is probably imminent, but I don't know for sure. I haven't heard any rumblings or whisperings or anything like that. Yeah, I was able to play it at Dice Tower Con, and we had a great time. It was a 6-player game, and that took us about I think 5.5 hours altogether. Maybe it was 6 hours, but it was a great time. We really enjoyed it. Have I played Spectre Ops Broken Covenant? Yes, I have, and I think I'm gonna have to play it again, because we played a couple of the Hunter's special abilities wrong when we played it. Because I was able to talk to Emerson. He was at Dice Tower Con, and I was able to talk to Emerson and about some of the problems that I had with it. And it sounded like we played a lot of the different, a couple, not a lot, a couple of the different hunters. We played their abilities wrong, and they seemed overpowered. So I want to play it again, but I enjoy Spectre Ops. I just think that right now, currently, and I think it's probably because we played some rules wrong, I think that the new hunters are a little bit overpowered, especially if you have certain ones of them together on the same team. So I don't know. We'll have to see, though. Let's see. The Dice Metrics. No, I have not played Raids. I was just talking about that earlier today on Top 10. And no, haven't been able to. Pete, Shirey, kids blasted me on GKR. Yes, that is very true. But we had a good time, so that's what really matters. Let's see. Have you ever tried to make custom components for games? No. Nick Van Dam has made a custom board before. For me, the fun of making things helps to justify the cost of the materials. Yeah, that's true. That's good, and a good way to look at it. But no, I am not very. I can paint a miniature, but putting things together and you know, DIYing something, not really my forte. Are there any expansions you would throw in on the first play while learning the base game? That depends on a lot of different things. There are sometimes games that come with advanced rules, and I have been known to just throw all the advanced rules together on the get-go, but I don't always do that as a matter of course. It really depends upon how I'm feeling. Do I want to teach all those extra rules? Do I think that the other people are going to be able to grasp those extra rules and understand how to play the base game and all this other kind of stuff? So let's see here. When buying a game, do you think it's worth having several with the same or similar theme, or having the two-player version of a multiplayer game you already own? Yeah. I mean, especially if the multiplayer version of the game doesn't scale down to 2. And of course, you know, there have been some that did scale down to 2, but it was a really cheesy scaling down of it, so they came out with a 2-player version of it that's much better than the variant rules that come within the base game. So yeah, I think those can be totally justified, because there are times where you're only going to have 2 people. So is it worth it to have several with the same or similar theme? Well, why wouldn't it be? If you like that theme, if you enjoy the theme, why not have more than a few games that have that same theme? That seems like a kind of a no-brainer. No offense. An addition change in a minis game isn't necessarily a money grab. No more than 40K 8th is a money grab with all of its new books and such. No, I totally agree with that. Totally agree with that. But I think something that Games Workshop is doing is they're making it. They have different levels of that edition that comes out. You can buy different box sets. You can buy the $150 box set that has the hardbound book in it, or the $200 book set, whatever. Or you can buy just the regular basic box that just has the miniatures and the quick start rules. So I like what Games Workshop is doing. I also like that they're coming out with other games that are not tabletop miniature games. They're board games. So I think they're doing, and I don't mean to blindly defend Games Workshop. I'm not saying, I don't think that's what you're saying here, but in the case of X-Wing 2.0, and I completely agree with you, it might not necessarily be a money grab. It definitely seems like it is, to me, in my mind. You are a speech teacher. Stop sucking your teeth. Just because I'm a speech teacher doesn't mean that I'm perfect at speaking. See, I just said So, verbal pauses, man. Everybody does them. Song of Ice and Fire from Simon, is it worth it? Again, I can't answer that for you. You have to answer that for yourself. There's a lot of videos out there that show you the game, that show you how the game plays and the quality of the miniatures. I'm going to be starting to paint some on Friday, so you've got to take all of that in and make that decision on your own. I can't tell you whether it's worth it for you or not. Let's see. Do you still say so on and so forth? Yes, I do. Do you guys intend to review Founders of Gloomhaven? I imagine that Tom will, at the very least. I don't know. We'll see. Any suggestions for adventure dungeon crawl games that do not use magic? No, I don't. Do you like print and play games? Absolutely not. I do not like print and play games. What do I enjoy about Warhammer 40K? Honestly, it's the miniatures and the building of the miniatures. I enjoy the game too, don't get me wrong, but I really enjoy the hobby aspect of Warhammer 40K a bit better than the actual gameplay. Sam, have you won in Robinson? Thoughts of that game? I hope you haven't already asked this. I'm assuming you're talking about Robinson Crusoe. I've only played the game once, and it was with Ignacy Trzewiczek, and we lost horribly. Mainly because we didn't listen to Ignacy when he told us not to do stuff. He said it was a bad idea, and mainly Tom, I think, is the one that said, yeah, I'm not going to listen to you, I'm just going to do it. And it turned out that it did. It made us lose. Let's see here. I'm skipping down a little bit. You've played both Lords of Hellas and Black Rose Wars. Which one did you like better? Well, I've only played Lords of Hellas twice and Black Rose Wars once, so I enjoyed them both. If I have to make a decision right now, I would probably say I like Lords of Hellas a little bit better. But Black Rose Wars was fun. All right. Let's go ahead and get to our lightning round because we are at 2 minutes past. So we're about an hour in because I know we started a couple minutes late. But so we're going to do a lightning round, and I'm going to continue asking answering some questions here as you guys start firing all that off. Those other things. Let's see. I'm trying to find some questions. To buy or not to buy apps, app versions of games. Either buying the physical after having the app, or the reverse of buying the app after playing the physical. Thoughts? Well, I really think that having an app version of a game, especially if it's a game that you really enjoy, is better than some of those, you know, really kind of mind-numbing games that you can play on app versions of phones and that type of thing, because it'll give you, especially with the bots and all that other kind of stuff, and most of the apps, I think, you can up the difficulty of the bots. I don't think there's anything wrong with that, especially because the app versions are usually really inexpensive, and you can wait until you see a sale where it knocks a few dollars off. So I don't think there's anything wrong with that at all. Now, if you find an app version of a game and then they come out with a board game version of it later, I would really kind of check to see. For example, XCOM. When XCOM came out by Eric Lang, I was really excited about it because I loved the video game. But it turns out, for me at least, the board game didn't give me the same feel as the video game did. And because of that, I didn't like it as much. I probably overhyped it in my mind a little bit too much. So you do have to be a little bit more studious and a little bit more researching if you're going from the app or a computer version to a board game, because sometimes the level of fun that you have with an app or a computer game doesn't really transfer over to the board game version. So you have to really kind of double check. All right, so let's go ahead and get to, lightning round. Let's see here. Have we got any? Have we got any? All right, yep, we do. Ant-Man or Ant-Man 2? Ooh, you know, I'd have to watch both of them again before I could answer that. But I really enjoyed both of them. Pizza or ice cream? Depends on what mood I'm in. Probably more often than not, pizza. A small family convention or Essen? Ooh, probably small family convention, I would imagine. Valhalla or Dark Mountains? Valhalla is the one that is probably more useful right off the bat. So, yeah. Verbal pauses or teeth sucking? Both. Yes, he is. Kabuki, he is a troll. Alfredo sauce or marinara? Alfredo. Stone Age expansion, yes or no? Yes. Luke Cage series or Daredevil series? Daredevil. Have you played Obsession? No, I have not. Led Zeppelin or Pink Floyd? Neither of them. Didn't really. Not a huge fan of 70s rock or 60s. I guess that go back that far. Daytime or evenings? Usually evenings, I would imagine. Playing games with, that is. Wolverine or Hulk? Wolverine. Youth group or Dice Tower? Both, because that's what it's at right now. Heroes of Blackreach or Memoir 44? Ooh! Right now it's going to have to be Memoir 44 because Heroes of Blackreach isn't actually out yet. But, I mean, Heroes of Blackreach is built upon the Heroes of Normandy system, and I have said in the past that I like Memoir 44 better than the Heroes of Normandy system, but I do like the Heroes of Normandy system. Let's see here. Traditional or electric razor? I use a traditional razor for head and beard, so, or neck, whatever. Taco Tuesdays or Fried Chicken Friday? Taco Tuesdays, definitely. I wish we had a day that started with B, because then we could have burrito something, because burritos are really my favorite. Dice tray or rolling on the board? It depends. If there's a lot of stuff on the board that could be knocked around, then yeah, we need to use a dice tray or a dice tower off the board or something like that. But I usually don't mind rolling on the board if the stuff that's on the board isn't going to be disrupted that much. Snacks at games or pause moments? Snacks. Come on, it's not that important. Space Marines or Orcs? Really depends on my mood. Sometimes I definitely want an Orcsy battle, but other times I just want to be that strong, stalwart Space Marine. So it just depends. Chocolate or vanilla? I'm going to go with chocolate, mainly because of Frosties. I tried a vanilla Frosty a while back and I was not impressed. But chocolate Frosties are the best. And I usually like chocolate over vanilla anyway. Review of a game or top 10? Top 10s are more fun to do. Reviews are a little bit more labor intensive on both ends because on production and post-production and pre, so I guess that's 3 ends. So there you have it. Solomon Kane or Joan of Arc? Right now I would stay with Joan of Arc because I have more experience with that. But I did get to play Solomon Kane at Origins, and it was very fun. Had a great time with it, and it was very enjoyable. So we'll have to see. Metallica or Megadeth? Metallica. Apples or oranges? I like apples better. Do you prefer to be the hunter or the big D in Fury of Dracula? I usually like to be Dracula, but I also enjoy playing the hunters as well. Rolling dice, left hand or right hand? I'm right-handed, so I use the right hand. Peter or Paul? I identify more with Peter, unfortunately. Terra Mystica or Gaia Project? Neither. Heroes 44 or Memoir of Blackreach? Wow, really? That's clever though. Fish tacos are the best. No, they really aren't. They're not bad, but they really aren't the best. But a burrito is a taco. No, it is not. You, sir or madam, need to go rethink your life. I'm just kidding. But you definitely need to stop calling burritos tacos and vice versa. AM or PM? I am definitely more of an evening person than a morning person. Favorite flavor of Slurpee? I don't, because I don't have Slurpees that often. B-Wing or X-Wing? I like the X-Wings better, but B-Wings are cool. Coffee or tea? Coffee. Rogue One or Solo? Ooh. Rogue One or Solo? I got to go with Solo. It was a great movie that I think captured. Everybody was talking bad about the movie before it came out, and I think Solo pulled it off. Yeah. Cthulhu or zombies or none? I'm gonna go with zombies just because I have really no affinity for Cthulhu at all. Rebellion or Midgard? Do you mean the old precursor to Blood Rage? Oh, Champions of Midgard or Rebellion. That really depends on what you like. If you're a Star Wars fan, Rebellion, no-brainer. But if you're not a Star Wars fan and you're just looking for a good game that has versatility number of players, then I would go with Champions of Midgard. Master of Puppets or Nothing Else Matters? Both are very good very good songs for different reasons. But I like both of those songs. Those are very good songs. The Eagles or Journey? I'd have to go with Journey. 7-Eleven, Wawa, or U-Totem? I'm going to go with 7-Eleven or Wawa. Beef or steak tacos? Steak tacos. PG-13 or rated R? PG-13. Member 44, Heroes of Normandy. Already answered that one. Pete Shirey. Bears winning the Super Bowl with Lifetime Burritos for you, or Blackhawks winning the Cup with Lifetime Pizza? I'm going to go with Bears winning the Super Bowl with Lifetime Burritos for me. Because I don't need to make a... Blackhawks will win again soon. So that's about it. Cincinnati chili or Texas chili? Texas chili. Cincinnati chili was good, but it doesn't top Texas chili for this boy from Texas. So, sorry. Smash Up or Dice Masters? I'm going to go with Smash Up, and that will be the last one I get to. Thank you so much, guys, for joining, and gals for joining. I really do appreciate it. You taking the time to spend with me here, just chatting here. Wow, 187 watching. That's cool. Awesome. I appreciate it. Hope you guys enjoyed it as much as I did. We will come back soon with another one of these, but don't know exactly when. Anyway, thank you again for joining us. We'll see you guys and gals on the flip side. Bye-bye. Take care.
Thanks so much for watching the Dice Tower videos. Find more great videos and reviews, as well as our top-rated audio podcast at Dicetower.com. You can also find other great shows at Dicetowernetwork.com. I'm Eric Summerer, and you've been watching The Dice Tower. The Dice Tower is sponsored by Cool Stuff Inc., where you can find great games for great prices. Cool stuff in stock. Check them out at CoolStuffInc.com.